Carousel has a very, very long history. The original Carousel was built before the before the turn of the century. It was built in 1890, and that stayed in Woodhaven for a very, very long time. That was, to a lot of folks growing up in Woodhaven, at the first half of the century, that was the Forest Park Carousel until December 11th, 1966, when it was burned down in a fire. It was, a terrible thing. And a couple years later, over the next few years, the community, along with certain elected officials, one in particular being our Assemblyman, Frederick D. Schmidt, worked hard to bring another carousel back to Woodhaven. And the carousel that they brought to Woodhaven was one that was operating in a park, Lakeview Park in Massachusetts, and was built in 1903. And it's one that was carved by Daniel Muller, and it's got some beautiful hand carved horses, a beautiful menagerie, and now it's in its 110th year, and it in its years here, since it reopened in I think it was 1972 now, so it's 40 years here in Woodhaven. It's had sort of a I don't know what you'd call it history, but it started off with a splash, and then twice before it kind of fell into either disrepair, neglect, or closed for a while. And over the last couple of years, we all know that it had its gates shuttered, and there was a genuine fear in the community that we were going to lose this carousel. I mean, it was something that was, face it was something that was picked up and sold and moved from Massachusetts to Woodhaven, so it wasn't an entirely unrealistic thing that it could be picked up and sold and moved again. And the community really came out, and I think they were so vocal that it made it clear that A, the city wasn't going to get away with just selling it too easily, and B, most importantly, that the carousel was loved. And we really were hoping that someone would come along and run it, and then last year, I guess right around this time, we heard that a deal had been struck. Might have been later than this, actually, in the year. A deal had been struck, and that New York Carousel Entertainment was coming in to take it. And of course, our initial questions were, hey, who are these guys? And what we saw right from the beginning was a group of people that cared for it just as we did. And every decision they made right from the beginning seemed to be, done with the best interest of the carousel and the community in mind. And they had a terrific first year. So now you finish your first year, wintertime comes. What do they face? They got to face some repairs. They got to face Hurricane Sandy and possibly some damage, and now they got to get ready. How do you top your first year? You got to get ready for that. And here to tell us how they're going to get ready for that from New York Carousel Entertainment is our good friend Ami Abramson. Ami, how are you, sir?
Hi, Ed. I'm great. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, it's great. Great to have you. So now you get through a really busy, crazy first year, and you guys do all that work prepping the carousel for winter and think, okay, now we can, catch a little breather before we have to do our winter work, and then along comes Sandy.
Yeah, well, Sandy was so destructive in the community that, we feel throughout New York, and we feel very fortunate that, at least as operators of the carousel, that the damage was really, really superficial. Nobody got hurt. And the roof of the building got severely damaged from one of the trees that came down. But I think we're glad we obviously tried to get it covered and closed up quickly, and within a few days we had the roof repaired. And because we wanted to make sure that if it rained again, that carousel would not be damaged. So the carousel itself experienced no damage. It was just the roof of the buildings over the carousel. And the carousel is in great shape, and it's ready to go for the season, and we're really excited. Next Saturday will be the opening day, assuming weather permits.
That's great. That's fantastic news. I was real excited about it, and looking forward to the new year. And I see here, you guys released a press release and said that you brought in, I like the way that this a world-renowned carousel expert. Tell us about this gentleman, Todd Goings of Carousels and Carving. Tell us about him and what kind of maintenance he was involved in.
Well, Todd Goings is really, I think if not, he's got to be of the top 2 or 3, if not the top carousel expert in the world. He comes from Ohio. He's brought in by people all over the country. We've known of his work for a very long time and have known him. He does incredible work, and he's a good guy. And he just loves and knows everything about carousels. So we wanted to make sure, we had to open so quickly last year. As you were mentioning, Ed, last year the deal was struck with the city, I believe it was, you're right, in March, but really it wasn't finalized until the first weekend in May.
In May,
so
that's right.
We got to work right away to get everything ready for Memorial Weekend, which was the city, the parks, Woodhaven community, and our goal. And we're very proud that it got open and running. But, we also were thrilled to see that the carousel ran so well for the season, but we knew all along that we're going to be here a long time, and we want to take good care of the carousel. So we had Todd come immediately at the end of the season, and we had seen some things that we felt like could be worked on. There was some balance issues. There were some pipes and things that were not as even and balanced as we wanted them to be. Todd came in and advised us what we needed to do. He did some of the work. He advised us on all the parts we should be buying to replace, so we did some replacement of parts. And we feel like the carousel's in as good a shape as it's been in maybe in 100 years.
Wow.
We really do hope that if there's anything that's wrong with it, we'll continue to fix it and just keep on improving it, because we know that it is a machine that's been around for so long, and we intend to make sure that it's around another 100 years at the very least. So, it's spun every single day, every day. We had no problems, but we wanted to make sure that remains to be the case.
That's great. And that's what the residents, of this community and the communities surrounding Forest Park were looking for when a caretaker was, selected, a vendor was selected, someone that was going to do exactly like these kind of things, like bring in experts and show that kind of care. So it's I'm really glad to hear that. Yeah, well, thank you. And it's really the community. It made it so fun to do it because we started to see people regularly. We understood people. Story after story was, it came here as a child. Now people are bringing their children, their grandchildren. People want to celebrate their birthday parties, and of course, we want to continue to build on that. We're excited. This year we're going to see the carousel start working again in March, which was our plan. Right for the beginning of Easter, spring, Passover break for schools, and so we have a way head start this year over last year, and we're excited because people should enjoy it all spring long and come on every weekend, and we'll be there. And this summer, so some of the plans you talked about, we're going to bring a game to the site. How does this game work? It's a classic. We're going to bring the high striker, the good old. You swing a mallet. You see if you can get the little weight to go to the top and ring the bell. Okay, excellent. Yeah, it's a classic carnival game, and we're really excited, and we think kids are going to have a great time, adults too, playing the good old high striker game. And, we intend to make certain changes every year. We learn so much. We know what we need to do. We're going to make sure, there's some basic and good old classic
Carousel Fair food to be had at the Carousel all summer long. But we have even further intentions in the future to add to that and add to the games. And we're hoping that we'll have an opportunity to add a couple rides. But, as you know, Ed, I always say I never promise timing because I never want to disappoint. So, we're taking it one step at a time, and we're getting the Carousel open. And, the response already has been phenomenal. Last year we were just coming to an agreement. This year we've already got almost 20 birthday parties booked at the Carousel, and people are just loving it. And they realize I could just say to them, "There's no better place. You can hang out. Bring your beach chairs." I tell them, "Bring your beach chairs. Spend the day. Let your kids run around." It's a safe space. It's a beautiful space. You know how beautiful it is on a nice sunny day in the spring or in the summer. I mean, you could spend all day long and just sit and enjoy.
Now, the entertainment that you had last year, you had your magic show, you had your you had your clown. They were very, very well received. Every time we were up there, we sort of heard, see what other acts do you have this year?
Yeah, well, it's going to continue every Saturday at 2 and 4, starting with Memorial Weekend. Memorial Weekend will actually have shows at 2 and 4 every day of the weekend for all 3 days. We are actually going to be planning to do a kids dance party, DJ party on Saturday night of Memorial Weekend. We'll pass the word out. And we plan to do more of those things where we'd like to have certain events on Friday nights and Saturday nights. Hopefully we'll do another fundraiser or two, and, Halloween parties and all that. What we found what was so phenomenal was the word spreads in Woodhaven area, and people come out for particular events, whether that be the concerts at the band shell or specific things that we, advertised or marketed, and people came and enjoyed. And the reality is, as we always say, if you're just coming to sit and enjoy and watch the kids run around, that's great too. Like, not everyone has to come to ride the Carousel. We know the kids will enjoy it. We know a lot of the adults will enjoy it. But just come hang out, come enjoy the music, come enjoy the show. We were thrilled last year. I think we averaged almost 75 guests per show.
Wow, that's great.
At the Carousel. And we have some wonderful pictures of it. And we're going to continue doing that, so there'll be free shows at 2 and 4. And people should just keep their ears and eyes open because we'll be letting people know about other special events like the dance party and Halloween party and other events like that.
That's great. Now, in the last year or so before you guys struck a deal with the city, and there were a couple of productions. There was one HBO production. There was a movie that was filmed at the Carousel. Has there been any approaches since then to you guys to come film at the Carousel? Yes.
Well, last year there actually was a show, and I'm going to apologize to you right now that I'm not remembering the show, but we had a show that was on prime time on network television.
Oh, that's right. Person of Interest.
Person of Interest, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ed. I'm sorry about that. Person of Interest came. They were phenomenal to work with. They came and spent the day. They did a shoot there. That aired. And HBO had a couple of different things, a couple of different movies that I've even seen. One time I didn't even know about a movie, and I was watching it. I said, "There's our Carousel." That was Babysitter with Jonah Hill. And so we've also had a couple of people coming to us this year interested in doing the same. And, we say we're open to it. We actually prefer that they'll come on a day that we're not open to the public. We don't like to interrupt any of the time that the residents have. But, if it's on a weekday, there's ways to make it work out. And the other thing that people have been coming to us, which has been wonderful, is for wedding photos. And a lot of people, we've already had several people come and take their wedding pictures with their wedding parties. And I just think that's great because we know the pictures of the Carousel are going to be sitting on people's coffee tables for forever.
That's fantastic.
So, it's a nice thing. I assume after a while we'll be walking into people's houses and say, there it is. There's the Carousel. So, between all these different things, the Carousel is, I think, becoming really known to be a place that's really special, and it also makes people know about Forest Park because production companies are talking about how wonderful it was to work with the Forest Park administration, and there's this amazing parking lot that actually can be really utilized for events and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
We see it when there's the concerts at the band shell. That place is packed with 200 cars. So it's a perfect place for productions to actually come and do a shoot for a few hours.
That's great. Listen, it's all positive, all great news, and we'll make sure everyone knows that week from tomorrow you guys are back, and we really look forward to seeing you. We'll be there next Saturday, and look forward to seeing you guys again.
Great. And I just want to thank you, Ed, and the whole Woodhaven community and Project Woodhaven for having just been the most hospitable community we could have imagined. And it just makes it fun. And now we feel like we know everybody. We're starting to get, we don't know everybody. We want to know everyone, so people should come. And we're getting to know people, and we feel part of the community, and it's wonderful. And I'm just excited that we're going to be part of it for a really long time. My kids have come to know that, they're not going to ever ride another more beautiful carousel than the one that's at Forest Park, and it's just fun to be part of a community like this that loves the carousel and are just fun people to hang out with. So wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. We will see you next week.
Great. See you next week. Have a good night.
Take care. You too.
Take care.